feel like WWE 2K24 could be that game. The game that we always wanted. The game that has almost all the missing features. The game Triple H. And even though, like, every year, the burning question is, are we getting John Cena and Randy Orton in the game? Always worries me. I do feel confident about this game. It reminds me a lot of WWE 2K14, where the game just kinda peaked and was the perfect version of WWE 12 and WWE 13. That's how I feel about WWE 2K24. WWE 2K22 was WWE 12, and it was a game that was pretty much different from anything we've seen before, but of course with a lot of limitations. WWE 2K23 was WWE 13. It was a lot better, but still didn't really go into that much detail. And I feel like WWE 2K24 is going to be WWE 2K14. Ooh, it has Daniel Bryan. Seems like 2K24 is the same game with small things we always wanted to see. Look, it might be small, but it's good. Am I the only one getting a deja vu right here? My main concern about WWE games nowadays is that I feel like having these games on consoles like PS4 and Xbox One are holding these games back because, like I've said, the graphics don't look different at all. It's just all about loading times. And I could be totally wrong right here, but I feel like if we could just make these games on PS5 and Xbox Series X to 3000, 5900, these games could look a lot better because they wouldn't have to, well, sacrifice the look of the game just to have these games on older consoles. Or I could be totally wrong. I'm not big on consoles and how, you know, they work. Also, one more thing I don't like is Bailey's model. I don't like competition, people, and it feels like my forehead just got some. But in general, I'm very excited about WWE 2K24, and I want to talk about some small things and other big features that this game has to offer that could make it into the game Triple H. So first of all, the return of special guest referee. It was brought back in WWE 13 and was removed in the next gen video games like WWE 2K15, and it was never back until now. It's such a small feature, it's such a nothing feature that for some reason we all love, and for some reason WWE 2K only brought back now, which is kinda crazy. And I like these matches because I think it's so fun to have them in universe mode. The amount of storylines you could create. We're going to get all the features from WWE 13 and 2K14, where basically, if you mess around too much, you're going to get replaced. But every time you select someone as a special guest referee, they're going to be wearing a referee shirt. It's so small, but yet again, it's all about the detail. Also, the return of casket matches last time was in one of the older SmackDown games. I remember talking about this, and I completely, well, I messed it up. I thought they were returning buried alive matches, so I got a little bit confused. But yeah, this is going to be pretty much a new experience, and I don't expect a lot from these matches because we're getting an ambulance match too, and we saw some footage, and it's going to be a lot of just button smashing, but at the end of the day, how else are you going to integrate that into a video game? So I think it's cool to have it. I think it's cool for storylines. I'm not sure if they're gonna be in GM mode. Probably not, but hopefully in universe mode. We're also getting a gauntlet match, which also seems like such a small feature. It's just a one-on-one match, but then you wrestle again. Like, come on, why is it only returning now? It's good to have it in a game though. I'm going to play as Roman Reigns and beat the entire WWE roster. Well, at least 3 of them. We're also getting some backstage improvements, which is great, and I believe at this point it's very similar to SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, but the nostalgia, you know, is kind of blinding us right here because I think it's very similar, but for some reason it's just not as fun as SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Maybe it's because we can't do all the silly shit, like riding a motorcycle. The thing about referees is that we're actually getting the real ones, real WWE referees. Again, attention to detail. Not only that, we can create referees. We can create a referee in a video game. I don't think it's that realistic, but if we could create like a really, really big referee, like, you know, the guy loves his McDonald's and he's slow. He's slow with the runs, he's slow with the count. That would be pretty neat. Again, you can create signs, and you guys know like equals bigger Coco Jumbo is coming. Which is true, by the way. If you like this video, up to 4 inches. And don't tell anyone, but if you click notifications on, it's 6 inches, but just don't tell anyone. Again, small things like pulling down the singlet. Last seen was, I believe, in WWE 2K19. Now, it's only going to be available for certain superstars. I don't think you can do that as a created wrestler, but it's such a nice little detail that I know it's silly. But when I'm wrestling as The Undertaker, in the middle of the match, I want to show off those boobies. Yes, that's what I want to do. Judge me all you want. I want to show my goddamn boobies. You idiot! Why are you showing the boobies? I like showing the boobies. No, seriously, it just adds a lot to the match. It adds a lot to the look of the match. Like you can tell, the Undertaker is a bit effed up. And now he wants to show them boobies. You know, he wants them boobies to, well, breathe. We're also getting some very interesting gameplay improvements. For example, now we can have 5 finishers and signatures instead of the regular 2. Now you may think, why in the blue as hell would I need 5 finishers? Am I a parody gimmick? Am I doing other finishers? Well, yes, you can. But imagine this. You have Randy Orton, right? Randy, beautiful man. Love Randy Orton. The thing about Randy is that he can do that RKO in many different ways. So for 2 finishers, you can just have 2 different RKO animations. For the third one, you can have RKO from the top rope. The fourth one can be the punt. The fifth one can be that ricochet-ass looking extravaganza RKO. Or well, Cody Scutter. Here I'm trying to say, that's what I always wanted to see. I believe Shinsuke has many variations, so you can have your running Kinshasa, Kinshasa when your opponent is down, Kinshasa of the second rope. Such a small yet such a useful feature, because a lot of times you're like, I gotta sacrifice one variation, and now the matches are going to look so much different. They also have super finishers, so a big example of that is John Cena's multiple attitude adjustment. I guess that is the best example of a super finisher, and I believe after you hit that one, your chances of winning are, let's just say, pretty high. If I understand correctly, you can't even use resiliency in these ones. Also, 6 new paybacks such as Iron Jaw. When used, it will completely eliminate your stunned meter. So you can be like, oh my god, I'm stunned. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. Psych. Psych, bitch. Freeze allows you to cover and lure an opponent for a cheap shot. You know what? Let's stop fighting. Just hug it out. Let's hug it out. Boom into cojones. We're also going to get trading blows mini game. So at first I didn't understand what it means, but it's one of these moments where both opponents are tired and they're just slowly throwing fists at each other. Again, adds a lot to the visual of the match. Also, you can rope dive onto a group of opponents outside the ring. So I can only hope it's not just an animation and you can just jump. You know, I'ma jump. That's what you do. Also, new weapons such as microphones, trash cans, and you can throw them, which was last seen in, I don't even remember when, I believe SmackDown 2011, and I can't wait to see how much impact it has. Small things like changing the camera angle, so I don't know why this was never a feature in a WWE video game, but I've missed this so much. I like this camera angle because you can feel the arena. It's not just the different lighting you see, you can see the set. If you're wrestling at WrestleMania, you can feel like you're playing at WrestleMania. It just makes the whole arena feel more alive, and I've seen some footage from content creators. By the way, make sure to check out the links in the description. Shout out to all the creators, they're uploading some really good shit on this game. It makes the arena feel more alive. Small things like that can really change the game, as funny as it may sound. We also got some blood improvements, so now you can see blood on wrestlers' chests and on the floor, which was last seen in, I don't know, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 or 10. I absolutely love small details like that. So we're probably going to get some tweaks here and there. My one more wish is that, hope I guess, is that we get new animations. I know it's hard, I know it takes a lot of time, but we play these games for a very, very, very long time. Most of these animations are the same. Most of the finishers are the same. So it's not exciting anymore. Like you start with a move and you're like, I know how it ends. Like it's burned in my memory how this move is going to end. I don't feel anything from it anymore. So hopefully that's something that we're going to get as well. Also, we're getting My Rise. So you know, these ones just depend on how the story goes. We don't know the storyline of these, but I think they're pretty well done. I was always a bigger fan of the ones where you can kind of control what happens in your career, even though we get less voiceovers, a bit less cutscenes. Like, Here Comes the Pain is a perfect example of that. But I think people enjoy it. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but they feel a bit more mainstream, I guess. And yeah, I get it. Let's just hope for good stories. My GM is getting some improvements. So I'm a GM mode guy, right? I love playing it in 06, 7, and 8 SmackDown vs. Raw games. And when we got it, it was great, right? But the limitations were just kind of mind-blowing. Some obvious things were missing in it, and it sucked. In WWE 2K24, it got improved, but still a lot of missing features. So in 2K24, 2K24, it's getting there. So we're going to get more match types, which is great. Like, the limitations were insane. More dramas, more championships. So when it comes to more championships, what does that mean? If I pick SmackDown and I pick a world champion, do I have to use the Undisputed Championship, or can I just switch it for a World Heavyweight Championship? Talent Scouts, which is interesting. Is it just signing wrestlers, or it's a bit different? Superstar trading between brands, like that was a given. I thought this was going to be in WWE 2K22, but finally is there. I can hit up Adam, and Adam, you get Akira Tozawa, I get CM Punk. How about that? Also, Superstar Contract Management and new Superstar Journey, which allows superstars to earn XP, train, and level up to gain new benefits after participating in matches. That sounds pretty exciting. If I want a guy to be on my brand, right? Like, I'm not planning on releasing Randy, right? Love Randy. Randy is my boy. So I can build him. I can probably build him to the point that whenever he cuts a promo, he's going to, well, give me more ratings, I guess. That sounds pretty cool, and something you could do in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. I think it was called Activities. In that game, I can pick the Great Khali and basically shoot a movie with him. You know, Khali with a gun. Universe mode seems like it's getting some love. I'm never really positive about this game mode. I do believe it's probably the best game mode for a wrestling game, right? Like, you can just have your own WWE. The issue is, it's barely touched, and hopefully this time it's going to be different. It says expanded rivalry actions, including run-ins, money in the bank cash-ins, scenarios, and brawls. Does that mean I can click, for example, X and say that I'm going to cash in during this match, or I'm going to run in like in WWE 12, or I'm going to attack the superstar before the match? All these things were in previous games. They were just kind of tweaked or removed. We're getting new cutscenes, which was really needed in my opinion. Like I've said, I know all these cutscenes, I've seen them all. As a matter of fact, I kind of want them removed. That's probably the biggest thing I want in Universe mode, just brand new cutscenes. Also, special guest referee support, which is great that we're going to get that in Universe mode. Double title matches and a loser leaves town stipulation. What does that even mean? If we're not getting any cutscenes or anything like that, I know we can basically pick a match. Loser leaves. That's great. After you lose that match, right? Does it just go to free agents and we don't even get a cutscene? Nothing like that? Like, what's the point then? I hope we're going to get a disappointed man just walking out of WWE. Another big question is, will we see CM Punk in this video game? Now, obviously, he's such a big superstar, it would be foolish not to have him as a late DLC. So I do believe we're getting CM Punk in a WWE video game for the first time since WWE 2K15. This time around, though, he's going to actually be scanned. Like, we're getting a better version of CM Punk. If he returned just a few months earlier, he would be the pre-order bonus. We all know that. But unfortunately, it was just a little too late, so we can only hope for a DLC. And like I've said, such a big name, impossible that he's not in WWE 2K24. It's impossible. 40 years of WrestleMania looked promising, but I am a little disappointed, not gonna lie. Turns out we're only going to get 20 matches, I believe. 40 years of WrestleMania, 20 matches doesn't sound that good. In WWE 2K14, we got, I don't know, 50, I guess. We got multiple matches for WrestleMania. Now, while it sounds a lot better, here's something that people kinda misunderstood. In WWE 14, it wasn't like every single match had these crazy cutscenes. Some of the matches were played like exhibition matches. You get the arena, you get the wrestlers, that's cool, but it just plays like a regular match. You don't any cutscenes, you get the generic winning animation, so it was basically it. I can only assume the matches in WWE 2K24 are going to have a lot of cutscenes. Now, speaking of cutscenes, I can't be the only one. I hate this technology of changing between video game and real life footage. I hate it. It just depends on what matches 2K are going to choose. I hope it's not only the obvious ones. I want to see matches like Randy versus The Undertaker to get the legend killer Randy Orton in the game. You know, stuff like this, because I know we're going to get all the Hulk Hogan slams Andre. I slammed Andre, brother. I slammed Andre. I want something different. So obviously we're going to get a lot more stuff. I can only assume the creation suit is probably going to be great, but one thing that I also like is that, while not confirmed, the developers kinda teased when asked that you can keep new models from my faction. So you guys know, not the biggest fan of my faction. Never played it, barely. Like, I touched it, wasn't for me. Don't care. But we do get a lot of interesting models, whether from previous eras or updated ones, and it's like, why can't I just keep them? Right? It's in the game. Let me keep these models. It's basically free DLC. So they teased it. Not sure if it's happening, but I believe it's a feature that a lot of hardcore WWE video game fans are really going to appreciate. So I believe 2K24 has all the potential. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure we're going to have thousands of problems, but I hope the game is fun. So thank you for watching this video. As always, appreciate your support, appreciate your time. If you watched it till the end, let me know in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe if you did, and a great one. Peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.